If you're holding altcoins or looking to get into altcoins, this might be the most important video that you will watch all year. This isn't just another update, guys. This is the breakdown of literally what is happening in the cryptocurrency market. A lot of people out there saying that the bear market is here, that the bull market didn't come or it's over. And we're going to analyze those takes. We're going to look at the bear case, the bull case, and the actual what's likely to happen case in today's video. Bear with me, guys. It's a little bit lengthy because there's a lot of very important information that we're going to go over today. It's been a while. I've been figuring it out. What's going on? So today we're going to bring you guys a pretty in-depth video about macro news and let you know what's going on. If you're excited for that, do me a favor, destroy that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. My name is Chasse. Without further ado, guys, let's get into it and talk about it. So as we can see, you guys, out of the Bitcoin chart, the past 3 days, we've been going up after this kind of brutal correction that everyone thought was really harsh, coming down to 52,581. And people are talking about, are we going to go lower? Well, we had this big dip back here to, just under, 48,000 back here in August. That's going to be important later in the show. I'll tell you guys why. You'll figure it out. But as Quentin over here says, stop panicking and zoom out. We're going to, so what could make the cycle different, right? I mean, this is comparing to the last 2 cycles, and this black line is where we're at right now. You guys, and by the way, if any of my colors are messed up in this video, just know that I'm wearing blue light blocking glasses, and my screens have blocked all the blue light, so my colors may be a little off. That's why I'm trying to as if you guys don't watch Brian Johnson, I'm trying to become a sleep expert, and so I need to get to bed in the next 45 minutes, so it's very important here. Anyway, so look, fundamentally we've had the strongest type of crypto markets that we've ever had since inception, but this black line shows you where we are right now comparatively to the last 2 market cycles, and you can see it's kind of right before these things both kind of went parabolic and ran up. And so the question we're going to answer today is this kind of par for the course? Now, we look at Bitcoin ETF flows, and they have been pretty nasty, not going to lie. But you know what? People tend to look at these ETFs as if they are big institutions, right? And a lot of this money in BlackRock and stuff like that, especially the initial money, because remember, if you've been watching this channel for a long time, you know that it wasn't until like 6 months after Bitcoin ETF started trading did pensions and just a little bit start dabbling in this, right? Like the 20 something billion plus of Bitcoin purchased by the ETFs was largely from like family offices, high net worth individuals, things like that. And they're not invincible to the, the kind of emotional roller coaster that markets are, right? And so this is just, potentially these investors getting shaken out just the same way that a lot of the retail are getting shaken out over here too, that the markets tend to do, is get people really scared. And that's kind of what you see here. But look who's not selling. It's BlackRock, right? Which has bought the most up. They had one day back here on August 29th. But out of all of these other people that are coming out and selling, the biggest dog in the room is not. And I think that's a really strong indicator of something, right? Pay attention. But one thing that we can understand here is that now if you bought the Bitcoin ETF on average, currently you're down 16%, right? As Jim Bianco says over here. So they're down. And you know what? That's what I'm saying. Fear is a real thing, not fear of missing out, but fear. And so if you bought Bitcoin and you're like, this is going to be great, and then it went down 10% and 15%, and now you're worried, right? And you're just as, if you're a high net worth individual or you're a family office, you could be just as worried as the doctor or dentist or the hair cutter or whoever that bought Bitcoin and it went down and they sold and vowed to never get back in either, right? So the market is emotional. It creates us emotional things. And, when the markets are fearful, that's when we should be really, really looking and making a decision, right? And we'll get into that in just a bit. Ethereum ETF flows have been really non-existent, just boring. Now, of course, this is going to pick up. And I think but when the markets pick up, right? All the talk is around Bitcoin right now on the global basis. Bitcoin as a reserve, Bitcoin by this country, but this pension fund, this bank. ETH, you don't hear that from, but this should run pretty hard when we get into, the kind of parabolic bull run. But Joe McCann over here says that, there isn't enough narrative about why investors should purchase ETH because it's experiencing an identity crisis. Is it a world computer? Is it an ultra hard sound money? Is it, what is it? I do think that Bitcoin is just it's the most safest thing, and it's going to take more time for people to understand kind of decentralized applications. Remember, just people are just now getting used to cryptocurrency on the mainstream, and to go from just getting used to Bitcoin to understanding decentralized applications, it's like a long way for people to go. So this idea of a world computer is still kind of far-fetched for a lot of people, right? They don't really understand it. They don't understand why. Hell, most people in crypto don't even understand what the hell a decentralization is either. So you can't expect the mainstream to understand it, but you guys do, my audience. Very smart audience. If you understand the need for decentralization, destroy that like button, guys. So Mando over here says ETH ETF outflows keep picking up. Volume dwindling. Doesn't look like institutions are coming for ETH. Again, I just told you my opinion on that one. Now, this is the bull market corrections or drawdowns from the last two markets. And you can see it's getting significantly less, but it feels so bad because, they were down here now 30%, over 20% from the local highs. But you can see in the prior markets, it's been much more volatile than that, right? And so this is the first one, this entire bull run that we've had this kind of drawdown. But in prior cycles, we've had many 30% drawbacks, right? Many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In this 2017 bull run, over here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a lot. Right? And we get 1, 2, 3. Well, this is, many. You get the point, right? And so we had the first one here, finally, and people are getting super scared, but very normal. So we talk about September, right? We talked about it before in the last video that I made. And Honey XBT over here says some people calling for 30K. I don't think so. We'll talk about that, why I feel that way in a second here. But as Zero Hedge says, you can see September is always for the equity markets have been historically just super bad, almost since 2018, you had 1 month and it was barely a good month. And then all the other months have been red historically, but followed by more, on average, a better October. Now that is the equities markets, right? Now you go to the crypto or Bitcoin markets, and we see September also, including this September 2024, negative, but most of them since 2013, except for 3 of them, have been negative, as we typically have these very, very bearish. In fact, September is the worst month in Bitcoin and crypto history, but followed by October being one of the best months, right? October being a great month. Look at the following month. And so why we focus so much on September as a month where we should be scared rather than looking at it as a buying opportunity, because look at how there's only been 2 Octobers since 2013 where it's been negative. And with everything going on in the world right now, do you think that we're going to have another one with the rate cuts coming here in September 18th in just 9 days? Well, again, this is the August until September time frame. I showed you guys this in the last video or 2 videos ago, whatever. But you can see almost every single time from August to September, ever since the beginning of Bitcoin, essentially, has been negative, right? But when you look what follows that, so these red lines are September to August, followed by this crazy run up until the next September to August, followed by the last little leg of that bull run. Bam, crazy run up, September to August, correction, 40%, bam, down, up another 600% almost. Bam, September, August, 19%, up 600%, a 26% dump, and then up another 70%. And we have our next halving coming up here. What's going to happen? Well, history doesn't always repeat, but it rhymes, right? And so Rex Capital says Bitcoin will retrace deep enough to convince you that the bull market is over, and then it will resume its uptrend. This is just what has historically happened every single time, every 4-year cycle before. So is it guaranteed to happen again this time? No. But when fundamentally we look at things, it tends to start making sense. And as we continue this video, it'll make more and more sense to you. So if downside is to happen in September, it is most likely to come in the first half of the month for BTC. Now, just my assumption here would be that we're probably going to see bullish markets after the likely rate cuts on the 18th from the Fed. And since there's going to be a lot of speculation leading into that, it's the 9th right now. Don't crucify me if we get some sort of crazy drop, but I wouldn't be surprised if, it's just a kind of a slow, like from now until the next, 9 days until the Fed meeting, people are going to kind of start speculating. We've been 3 days now positive. I don't think we're going to explode, but I think people are going to wait for that confirmation and on the 18th. And then I think we're going to have some good markets after that. It's kind of what I've been saying for a long time. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, I've been talking about like the second half of September going back up. And then by October, likely to break, back into all-time highs. And then November, December, seeing, 85 going to 90 and then 100K by the end of the year has been my kind of rough estimation. We'll see how that goes. I kind of still stand by that. That's what I'm kind of expecting. We shall see. Sivo says all these posts about September being historically the worst month for Bitcoin tells you how many people focus too much on short time frames. I agree. I'm not a trader. I'm an investor, long-term investor. I have a long-term mindset. Zoom out, don't zoom in on the charts. Why don't we talk about the months after that? Q4 is historically the most bullish quarter. Exactly. So what should we be doing? Should we be buying when everyone else? Yeah, maybe. Look at the charts of everything we've been showing you, right? So as Max over here says, basically, when you look at this, again, it's the same thing. Q4 being a historically exceptional year, showing this chart back here, September, bam, Q4, great. And then over here, September, and then Q4, bam, likely to repeat the same kind of thing. And because you can see the average Q4 return, average Q4 was 88%. Very good. Can't get that in stock markets, really. So Super Bro over here is showing you that in an election year, September actually isn't the lowest. It's usually July or August, as he says over here. And again, like I said, in August, if you go back to this chart over here, you can see in August, we had this dip right here down just about $49,000. That's probably the lows, right? That's probably the local lows over there at 49,000. We've probably already hit it for this year, in my opinion. I don't think we're going to go lower than that, but could be wrong. But that's just my 2 cents there, what I think. Well, and also so does Super Bro over here. And Quentin, this post is a little bit old from August 29th, but it still holds true. We're now less than 60 days away from elections. And as you can see, after elections, the markets have always rallied. And will they do the same again? Maybe, likely. This is Jonas says, a massive asymmetric bull trade is setting up here. And Trump is still ripping. Kamala is in a doom loop, and crypto, which is heavily election dependent, is trending down. The dip to buy will come in the next 3 to 4 weeks. This was made a few days ago, 5 days ago. For me, because of the Fed, because we think October is probably going to be bullish, maybe the dip to buy is already here. Maybe it was 3 days ago when Bitcoin got to like whatever it was, down to 52K or something. So Luke Martin says the SEC is targeting OpenSea 24 hours after Trump launches a new FT collection. And remember, right after I talked about it, right after we talked about Trump at the Bitcoin Miami conference, putting Bitcoin as a reserve, then the Biden-Harris administration moved that $243 million worth of Bitcoin to Coinbase immediately afterwards, playing little childish games. Remember, Gary Gensler and Kamala Harris are not pro-crypto, no matter what they try to say. That's just a fact. Now, I'm going to play this video for you guys. It's 2 minutes long. I'm going to play it on 1.25 speed. This is the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, a $13 billion asset manager. Really good perspective here. Take a listen, guys.
Where Bitcoin is going over the next 5 years is take a look at the last 5. Right? The last 5, Bitcoin has been an outsider in the finance business, but coming closer and closer and closer. Right now, there's an ETF just starting to go a little bit mainstream, maybe a toe in the water of mainstream, but banks still can't clear it. Banks still can't transact in it. Banks still can't custodian it.
This is the thing, guys. It's really important that, people think that, we already have mainstream adoption. Bitcoin is an ETF, but no. No. Just because we have a couple guys like Michael Saylor and like Jack Dorsey and like Jack from Strike and a few Bitcoin advocates on the main stage, and Trump, Even with Trump on the biggest stage of the biggest platform in the world, it doesn't mean we have mass adoption, right? Listen to what this guy is saying.
Banks still won't transact in it, and they won't finance it yet. I think people misunderstand traditional financial service companies. They want to transact in Bitcoin. They want new asset classes to transact in. That's just a good thing, but they need the regulator to say it's okay. Right now, today, right? If a bank were to hold your Bitcoin, they would have to set aside their own money equal to that amount in sort of like in a jail. I mean, you'd say, so, well, that's crazy. The answer is, that's why they don't hold it. But if you let them hold it, if the regulatory environment was good, you will see all the traditional financial service companies, the big banks, the big brokerage companies, they're all going to go headfirst into Bitcoin. That's what's going to happen, and it's coming. It's a slow, steady process, but eventually there's going to be a CFTC chair who says, you know what, Bitcoin is a financial asset, and we're going to treat it as such. And when that happens, you're going to see Bitcoin move in a very, very strong, positive direction. So that's why I'm a fan of Bitcoin. It's going to go much higher. It always bounces around like any other financial asset, but ultimately over the next 5 years, as it gets invited into this party, up we go.
Bam, there you go, guys. Directly from Wall Street. I can agree that very well said. Very well said. And this guy over here from Split Capital, very good opinion over here. I agree with it. Crypto has never had a product market fit problem. It's only had a regulation problem. If regulation were clear and flexible for new products to work at scale, financial institutions would integrate directly with on-chain products. I agree with this. Of course, like abstraction, security, all these kind of things need to actually be a bit better. I think they're getting there for sure. I think that there'd be a lot more trials and things going on right now. And yeah, I think things would be moving much quicker if we had proper regulation. So that all could happen very, very soon here, guys. You know, who are you going to be out there voting for? I don't know why I can't see this post, but this is supposed to be with the FTX repayments. Again, this is going to happen. I did see an article saying that October, I think 4th or something like that is going to be the critical court date. And if things go well on that court date, it could be within 1 to 2 months when we start seeing repayments. So we're probably not going to see October repayments like I thought before, but we'll get some more clarity in early October. But likely this, you know, between 12 and 15, 16 billion is going to start coming back around November, December, back into the market, right back into the hands of crypto people, which will be a big stimulus for the market. One of the big catalysts of expecting to drive prices much higher in now November, December. Again, back to Q4 being very strong. So when are you going to buy? Are you going to buy now or before we get a huge pump in the market and everything goes up, you know, all the alts go up 50, 60, 70%. Even if it goes a little bit lower, you know, I think that right now is near the local bottom, in my opinion. So again, I've told you guys about this rate cut, I believe coming up to be, you know, between 25 to 50 basis points on the 18th. This should signal quite a strong rally. Now, this is a little infographic here telling you about what has happened with rate cuts that weren't in a recession, right? And so this rate cut is not recession. It's not because of recession. This is normalization. This is the Fed getting things back into control. We're not in a recession. And so this is a normalization, the type of cuts, right? It's either, you know, rate cuts are only bearish if they're in recessions. And you can see here, normalization, this rate cut in 84, you had markets, the S&P pumping, you know, quite a bit 6 months later after the cut. This panic crash, 6 months, big pump. But normalization over here, just 3 months later, not on the very first one, you had a 10% pump. Recession, we don't count. We're not in recession. Normalization over here, immediately bullish, very, very bullish. You had here panic, sell, rate cuts, super, super bullish. Normalization, remember, don't count the recessions. Normalization over here, just 3 months later, good bullish markets, but they've historically always been bullish after a normalization period of a rate cut. Let that sink in for a while. Always, since at least 1984. That's very telling in my mind. Pomano went over here on CNBC and just said basically the Fed is in a very good position right now. You know, we got rates over 5%. Those are going to come down, but they also sold off nearly $2 trillion, which means they got $2 trillion of ammunition to be buying right now if they need to do so, and they probably likely will. And on Altcoin Daily, they quote this guy Dan Tapiro, who just says, I'm not going to play it, but Bitcoin should easily double after rate cuts. I don't know what period of time they're talking about. This is, I don't think this is the best chart over here, but it was worth showing you that where we are from a technical perspective on altcoins. This is, showing, basically saying sell your house, buy altcoins if it gets down to this green line down here. And as you can see, we haven't really been down here in quite, well, forever. So really good time to buy altcoins at the moment. But every time you see it coming down quite a bit, it always is followed by a strong move upward, right? So Solana Breakpoint coming up, guys. It's happening right after Token 2049. I will be in Singapore for Token 2049, and then I will also go to Solana Breakpoint. So usually people speculate on Solana and the things that they're going to announce at Breakpoint. Breakpoint is kind of like their big Apple iPhone event or whatever, right? Where they talk about everything happening in Solana. And this guy Gumshoe says that at last Breakpoint, they unveiled a 400x token last year. And if you scroll down here, it talks about Nosana was a dead chart. And it did have a bid in sight. They talked about it at Breakpoint, and then it made over, a 400x after Breakpoint. So basically this whole thread goes into pay attention to what happens at Breakpoint, all the speeches, and then just look through them, right? I mean, if you find something that and it does a 400x, that's completely life-changing if you put significant, like a meaningful amount of capital into that thing. So I thought this was a pretty good piece of advice here. I'll be at Breakpoint myself. And this is talking about just basically the price of Solana itself going into Breakpoint. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to play this game, but I think Breakpoint happens probably around the 22nd, 23rd or something like that. So, maybe in about 5-6 days, maybe we'll start to see a bit of more buzz coming up there for Solana. It's probably a pretty good position right now to buy, considering how much it's corrected as well. And it's, Breakpoint should bring a lot of attention around it as well. So, but as you can see, guys, times are changing now. Meme coin market is not doing so well, which is great. We're going to start to see a shift to more quality. What has been doing well? Well, DPIN has been doing extremely well. And even surprising to see over here, NFT applications. Remember, we talked about, what was it? BitCut? Something like this. NFT application backed by Coinbase. I told you guys about it a while ago. Maybe that one's going to be a good one to come into, right? Because NFT applications starting to pick up mindshare, attention going over there. But DPIN, strongest mover. That's going to be a big one. We're heavily invested in a lot of DPIN projects over here at MV. We'll tell you guys about them as they come closer to launch. And as you can see, this is kind of the adoption curve over here. Everything beyond Bitcoin is worthless, quote, but we just need time. We just need time, right? And so Bitcoin went this entire innovation kind of curve as well. There was a speculated bubble, kind of crashed down, and now it's like in this kind of plateau of productivity stage. And then you've got these winners emerging right now that are actually being used. You got layer ones, you got stable coins, DeFi. I'm using Aave a lot. DPIN is starting to be used on a mainstream level, NFTs a little bit. And, now we have gaming coming up to see its spotlight in the real world of actual adoption. Meme coins probably eventually build communities and things like that. And these other ones are still kind of on their way up. And, we'll see as they come. But guys, I hope that was very beneficial for you guys today. That was a big, broad market overview. For myself, I have been binging on, Brian Johnson's Don't Die life extension content. If you guys don't know too much about my background, that's what I used to do before crypto, like 12, 13 years ago, was longevity and anti-aging. And I've done some great things over the past few weeks. I've got me really interested in this field again. So I will give you guys, let me know in the comments below if you guys would like to know a bit more about my journey. Maybe I'll start that on maybe like an Instagram or a TikTok or maybe a separate channel. I'm not sure. Let me know, guys, in the comments below if you're interested in that kind of content, health, longevity, biohacking, psychedelics, stuff like that. Let me know. I'll be looking at the comments and excited to hear your guys' thoughts. Oh, by the way, watch this video over here. It's good. I'll check you later. Bye-bye.